Just shared another link. Please, if you are using YouTube, please use that YouTube link that is shared just now. Don't use the old one. Anyhow, I deleted it. Right. So let us continue. So the variable that is declared inside a function will have a local scope. Have a local scope, right? And if it is declared outside the function, then it will have a global scope. So means what? Scope means what? Local scope means local to the function in which the variable is declared. So where is this variable a declared? Inside the main function. So you can use this variable a only within this function main. Somewhere in read function, if you try to access this variable, it will generate an error. Similarly, if I declare a variable like this outside of all functions, then it will have a global scope. So I can access this variable's value here. Say I can use this printf, print this value b here. So this is legal. This is legal. And here also, if you use, this is also legal. You can use it anywhere because the scope of the variable is to the entire program. So if a variable is available to the entire program, we say that this is global scope. If it is available only within the function in which it is declared or within the block means the brace opened and closed. So then the scope is limited only to those braces. So here, because these braces are related to the function block, so this will be limited to the function main. Similarly, if I declare here another variable c, then this c will be accessible only to this read function. You cannot access c here somewhere in main function. If you try to use c is equal to say some 30 like this, so this is going to generate error for you. Okay? So that is the scope. So in the same way, even in uh, PHP also will have three different scopes for variables: local scope, global scope, and static scope. Local and global, just now I told you what is local and global. The same is the case in PHP, global and local scope, right? So a variable declared outside a function has a global scope and can be only accessed outside a function. You cannot even access, unlike this is example of C. Even though I declared this variable outside the globe, outside the main, outside of all the functions, I'll be able to access it only within outside the functions, but I cannot access within the main function or read function. In PHP, if it is in C, then you can access it in the entire program. But coming to PHP, unlike that one, unlike the case in C and Java, the global variables can be accessed only outside a function. Why? Because in PHP, what we can do is, just like in JavaScript or Python, we can write direct programs, direct statements outside a function also. Without a function, we can write directly PHP code, just like we do it in JavaScript. But it is not the case with Java and C, right? So you can only declare variables outside a function. If you want to use a printf statement, I cannot use a printf statement outside a function here like this. I cannot use a printf statement here, or I cannot use it somewhere here, or somewhere in between these functions here. So if I try to use a printf statement or a computational statements like C is equal to A plus B, right? If I write such statements, these are all illegal. You cannot write any code outside the function. You have to write definitely code within the functions. This is the structure of C and Java programming. Java and C, they will not allow you to write any code outside the function. But that is not the case with the PHP programming or JavaScript or Python programming. So they will allow you to write the code without a function. You will not enclose the code inside a function. You can write the code outside a function like this. So when that is the difference you find between PHP, C, and Java, then the scope, global scope and local scope will be also a little bit different in PHP when compared with C and Java. So in PHP, when you declare a variable outside of all the functions, then you can act, because you can write code outside the functions also. You can access that variable only outside the function. But if you try to access it inside any function, it will be illegal. It will generate an error for you, right? Similarly, when you declare a variable within a function, then you can access it only within inside the function only. You cannot access it outside a function. That is local scope. So if you declare a variable inside a function and you can access it only within the function, then that is local scope for that variable. And if you declare a variable outside a function, then that is a global scope and you can access that variable's value only outside a function. You cannot access them inside a function. I'll show you with an example programs here. Look at this program here, or I'll create a folder for you people and then execute these programs and show it to you. That you'll understand better practically. So where we are supposed to create folders for uh, creating a PHP application, yesterday we have created a web design folder. Right? So in this we have created an index file. So now I'll create a new file to display the scope. Directly I'm going to write PHP code without any HTML code. You can write a program purely with PHP code like this without HTML code. So I'll rename this program as scope.php. I'll store it in web design folder. So here first I'm going to create a variable global, say $a. How to declare a variable? Precede that variable with $sign. And I'm assigning say some 10 for this one. Then create a function. How to create a function means I'll echo this variable's value directly here. A is equal to, and this echo statement how to use also I'll tell you first. This is a concatenation operator, just like we use a plus symbol in JavaScript and Java programming. Instead of plus symbol, you have to use either dot or comma. Anything is accepted. Comma as well as dot are accepted. So I'll be using a dot symbol here. Concatenated with what? A is equal to what value I have to display? I have to display variable A's value. So I have to write $A, end it with a semicolon. Right? So this A is equal to whatever is there in between these double quotes will be displayed as it is on the screen. That means A is equal to. Then concatenated with this A is equal to the value of variable A will be printed. So that means what? 10. So A is equal to 10 will be printed as output for this one. The output will be like this. A is equal to 10. And then am I writing this code inside any PHP function? No, I'm not writing any code inside a function. Now I'm going to create a function. Function a my function. This way I'll create a function here. So the syntax for creating a function is similar to that of JavaScript. So use the keyword function, right? No need to specify the return type and all, like you do it in C and Java. So directly use the function keyword like you do it in JavaScript. And space, give a name for the function, open and close the parenthesis. If you want to pass any parameters, you can mention those parameters, but even those parameters also must be specified with a $sign preceding them, right? So here I'm going to create a variable say $b and assign say 20. And to echo this variable's value, I can echo it here inside the function like this. B is equal to, and I'll vary this, change this variable A to B. Right? So now, what is this local scope? What is this global scope? Right? So, how to run this program? Open the browser, First, before that, you start this Apache and MySQL server. So after that, open the browser and type localhost hash. What is the file of folder name? Web design, right? So type that web design folder name, then slash, and here what is the file name? Scope.php. Right? So mention the scope.php file name, and this file will be open, and it is printing a is equal to 10, but b value is not being printed. Why? Because we just created a function, but we didn't make a call to that function. So first, we need also to make a call to the function. So what is the function name? MyFun. How to call the function? Okay. So this is how you make a call to the function. Name of the function, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, end it with a semicolon. Same syntax that you follow in C, C++, Java, Python, JavaScript. So the same syntax you have here also to call a fine. So I'll make it. I'll save this program again. So now I'll run this. This time this will print A as well as B. Okay. So if you want the B's value to be printed in the next line, before B here, you can use a break tag so that the cursor will move to the next line for printing. Okay. So this is global scope. If I try to print A's value here, I'll write A here. Right. What is going to happen? Let us see. It is going to generate an error. So errors will be displayed on your PHP page with the notice as subheading. And what is that error? Undefined variable A in C exam folder, htdocs folder, web design, scope.php on line number 9. A is equal. So this is where you're getting. Right? So this is line number 9. So why you're getting this error? Because first the global scope means what? You can access this variable only outside the function. You cannot access that variable inside the function. That is the meaning of global scope. No matter how many functions you define in your PHP code, in any of those functions, you cannot access that global variable if you declare this variable outside like this. But when you declare this variable inside, then this will be local scope and you can access it only here. And if I try to print the b's value here, just like I have done here, the b's value here. So instead of here after the function, I can write code here also. But if I try to access this b variable's value here, then here also I'll get an error. So another error is generated. Undefined variable b, line number 12. Right? So if you create a variable inside a function, then you have to use it only inside the function. If you create a variable outside a function, then you have to use that variable only outside the function. So that is global scope. And when you create it inside the function, then it is local scope. Right? So you cannot write this statement. This will generate an error. Right? And even this also will be generating error. So if you remove them, then the program will print without any error. Okay. So this is local scope and global scope. So now, what if you want to say you want to access if you want to access this global variable inside a function, then there is a solution for that one. So I want to access this global variable a inside this function myFun. What I can do is I have to redeclare this variable with a keyword called global. I have to use a keyword called global and use dollar is equal to 10. Then I can use this variable a here and print. So this is not going to generate any error for me. Print a is equal to 10. So that where we did a mistake, line number 8. Global dollar a is equal to 10. You need not assign a value. You can declare, just make a declaration like this, global dollar a. Then whatever a's value is assigned here, the same value will be printed here in this yes echo statement. That's the reason why you're getting b is equal to 20 and after that a is equal to 10. So I'll use this break tag here also so that this will be printed next line. Okay. So let me show it to you in the slide. So here example program is displaying the same thing. $x is declared and with value 5, this will have global scope. So you cannot access the variable x inside this function my test, and you can access it only outside the function. That is the meaning of global. And coming to local scope, you declare this variable $x inside my test function, then this will have local scope. You can access it within the function, but outside the function here, if I try to access the variable x value, then this is going to generate an error for me, right? Then I also showed you a solution for using the global keyword and access the global variables even inside a function. So in this program, $x is equal to 5, this will become a global variable, and $y is equal to 10, both will now become a global variables. But can I access these global variables inside this my test function? No. But if at all, if I want to access them, what I have to do? I have to redeclare these two variables inside the function, wherever in whichever function you want. So there are two functions. In both the functions, you have to redeclare them, right? So in my test, I'm redeclaring these x and y variables here using the global keyword, global space $x, comma $y. Then I'm performing some operation, $x and $y added, and the result is stored in $y. And then this is printed, so this will print 15 as output. Okay, so this is global keyword. So as I told you, the global keyword is used to access a global variable from within a function. To do this, use the global keyword before the variable declaration inside the function. So PHP also stores all the global variables in a array called $globals. So there is an array called $globals, and uh, all the global variables that you declare in your program, they will be automatically stored inside an array called $globals. So as I told you earlier, in PHP, both variables and arrays, they must be preceding with a dollar sign, right? So this $globals is nothing but an array. You will have an index for these arrays, just like in C language arrays, you have index starting from 0. Even this globals array also will have index, but this index is not a numerical index starting from 0. Instead, it will have a index exactly matching with the name of the variable. So what is the name of the variable you create? Say for example, I am creating here in this program $x is equal to 5, $y is equal to 10. So both these variables are global variables because I created them outside the function. But to use them inside a function, earlier what I have done is I have used the global keyword, right? I redeclared those variables using global keyword. Instead of using this global keyword, because when you declare a $x and any variable outside a function, it will be automatically stored in this global array with an index exactly matching with the name of those variables. So globals of x will have 5, globals of y will have 10. So you can access them like this. So $globals of Y must be put inside a single quote or double quote. So we can access them like this: dollar globals of Y is equal to dollar globals of X plus dollar globals of Y. So this is same as this one operation: X plus Y is assigned to Y. So here also X value and Y value are added and the result is stored in Y. But instead of accessing them directly using their variable names, we are accessing them using this globals array. And in that globals array, what is the index that must be used to access that variable's value means whatever variable name you have given for that variable, that name, it must be enclosed in singular or double quote, right? So this is an alternative way for accessing global variables values inside a function. Instead of redeclaring them, you can use this globals array. So this globals array is a super global array. Super global array means, what is the difference between global and super global means? Global means the variable will be visible only inside the program in which you have written. But when you say super global, the super globals will be accessible in multiple web pages of a single folder. So in our program, in our application, we have created a folder called web design. And in this, we have three different files, right? Index.php file or two different files. PHP files are there. Two files are there. One is index.php, the other one is scope.php. So in both these files, I can access the global variables by using this globals array. Right? If I use globals array, I can access this variables value both in scope.php file and index.php file. And if at all, if you create any other PHP files also in future, there also you can use. So if you are able to use variables and their values in multiple PHP files of the same folder, then they are called as super global variables or arrays, right? So we'll discuss about these super globals later in detail, one after the how many of them are there. We'll list out all of them and then we'll discuss them uh, in detail about each and every super globals. But as of now, we'll know only about dollar globals. So dollar globals is a super global array using which you can access all the global variables of a PHP file anywhere in the application by using this index by using the index which is exactly matching with the name of those variables. Fine. You cannot access local variables. If you create a local variable inside a function and if you try to access that local variable using globals, it will not be accessed. So it is only meant for global variables, not for local variables. So the index holds the name of the variable. This array is also accessible from within functions and can be used to update global variables directly, right? So this is about local and global scope and using global keyword to access global variables inside a function, as well as using global super global array to access the global variables inside a function. So totally there are two alternatives to access global variables in a function. So one is by redeclaring them using the global keyword. The second one is by using the globals array, dollar globals array. Okay. Then coming to the third scope, static keyword or static scope. So you must have heard about this static in C programming. There are something called storage classes in C programming, right? Do you remember storage classes in C programming? So there are storage classes like four storage classes in C: automatic, register, static. Fourth one is external. And for these storage classes, C provides us with the keywords. For automatic, the keyword is auto. For register, the keyword is register. For static, the keyword is static in small letters. And external, the keyword is external. So these are the four keywords using which you can specify a storage class for a variable in C, right? So in those storage classes, you have a storage class called static. So when you use this static keyword for a variable, the lifetime and the scope of the variable will be different when compared with the local variables and global variables. Right? So the same concept that you have in C for static is also there in PHP. Right? So that means what? I'll show you with an example program. So create a new file here and I'll save this file as static.php. And let me open this index file also so that we provide some links to all those user center tag. So I'll provide anchor tags here. So first a home here. So home will take you back to index.php file. Then a local and global scope. So when you click on this link, this will take you to scope.php. Here I'll create static.php. But when you open this file, the design folder, go to expected. This is within PHP file. Right? So if you try to write any HTML code within this PHP, then this will I need to put it inside outside the PHP tag. So if I click on local and global scope, this will be printing this one. If I click on static scope, nothing will happen because we didn't write any code inside the static program. So here I'll write code for demonstrating static scope. I'm going to create a function static. Here I'll create a variable dollar a is equal to say 0. Then I'll echo this variable's value dollar concatenated with break statement so that the cursor will move to the next line. After this, I'm going to increment this $a variable's value. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a call to the static demo function. Right? So what will be the output? Can anybody expect? $a is 0 and you are printing the $a's value, right? So because a's value is 0, a value will be printed as 0 and then a will be incremented later, it will become 1, but you'll come out of this function and the value of the variable a will be displayed only as 0. Let me open this file for you. Static scope. So what is it displaying? A is equal to 0. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a call to this function again. So I make a call twice, then the a value will be printed twice. and one more time I'll call, also print again a. Okay. So now if I make this variable as static by using the static keyword like this, let me see what is going to happen. Output of the program is now changing. First time when you make a call, a value is printed as 0, but second time when you make a function call, it is displaying 1, and third time when you make a call, it is displaying 2. So why this is happening is because you declared this variable as static. So what do you mean by static means? If you're not using the static keyword, once you make a call to the function and a variable a is declared and it is initialized with value 0, then you are displaying that variable a's value, then you are incrementing that a's value, then you will come out of this function. That means you are going to exit the function. So once you exit the function, the variable that a that you created inside the function will be removed from the memory. The memory allocated for this variable when the function is called will be again deallocated. So as a result, the previous variable's value that is incremented to 1 will be lost. So when you make a call again, then what is going to happen is again the variable will be created with its value initialized to 0. So again when you print that a's value, it will be printing again 0. So that is the case when you don't use static keyword. When you don't use static keyword, what is going to happen is after every function call is terminated, the variables that are allotted memory during that function's execution will be deallocated with that memory and they will be completely erased from the memory. The variables values will be erased. So as such, even though at the beginning of the function you assign 0, at the end of the function call a will be incremented to 1 and then you will exit the function. But what is the use after incrementing? Because you are exiting the function, what is going to happen is this is going to be deleted from the memory. So when I call it for the second time, again the variable will be newly created in the memory and it will be assigned with 0 again. Then this will display again 0. Then it will be incremented. Then you will exit from the function. Again this a will be erased. Right? Then you make a call to the static demo once again. Then again newly a will be created and it will be assigned 0 again. Then it will display again 0. You'll exit and you'll increment it and exit. So again the variable will be deleted. But instead of using normal variable, if I use this static keyword and declare this variable a, the variable will not be deleted from the memory even though you exit from the function. First time you make a call to this function, this variable will be created in the memory and it will be assigned with 0, then it will be printed, then it will be incremented to 1, then you exit from the function, then again you make a call to the function, you'll enter this function definition, but this time the where previously declared variable created variable is not erased from the memory, so it will remain as it is and its updated value will be 1, right? So when you print this echo statement, this will print 1. So second time when you make a call to the function, this statement will not be executed. This will be executed only once for the first call. Not be executed each and every time you make a call to the static demo function. This statement will not be executed. It will be executed only for the first call. For the second call, what is going to happen is the previous updated value 1 will be used and it will display 1 as the output. Then again it gets incremented, then you will exit and again you will make a third call. So during third call, what is the previous updated value? 2, so it will be printed 2. Then again you will increment it, then you will exit. So that is the reason why when you create a variable as static, the output of this program will be 0 1, right? So that is the meaning of static, that is the purpose of static keyword, that is what mentioned here on this slide. Normally, when a function is completed or executed, all of its variables are deleted. However, sometimes we want a local variable not to be deleted. We may need it for a further job. To do this, use the static keyword when you first declare the variable. Then each time the function is called, that variable will still have the information it contained from the last time the function was called. Right? And but it doesn't mean that this static variable is going to become a global variable. It is still local only. It is local variable only. It is not global variable, but the value of that variable will persist between multiple function calls. Even though you call that function, the lifetime of the variable will be different. Scope is different and lifetime is different. Lifetime means how long that variable will be existing in the memory. That is called as lifetime. Scope is nothing but in which part of your program you can access a particular variable. So previously when we have seen local variables and global variables, they are completely related to the scope of the variable. But coming to the static variable, the scope is same as local variable. It will be used as a local variable only. You cannot access that variable outside the function. Just like for local variable, how you cannot access it outside a function. Even static variable will also not be able to access outside a function. But when you are making multiple calls to the function, the previous calls value, whatever updated value will be there, that will be remaining in the memory because that variable is not deleted from the memory. So it will persist. That is nothing but called as persistence. So we can say the lifetime of the variable will be like the value of the variable will persist between various function calls. Various function calls means multiple function calls that you are making to the function. So in your program, you are making 3 times call to that function. So previous call lo edaithe value undo, some whatever value is there, so the same value will be existing in the second call. So we'll continue with that previous value that is existing in the previous call. Then again, third time you make a call, it will be persisting with the second call, right? So that is the reason why the output of the program will be like 0, 1, and 2. Okay. So then that is about static. And coming to the print statements, echo and print statements. There are two functions in PHP using which you can print some values or some content on the screen. So one is echo and the other one is print. So till now we have been using this echo, but apart from this echo, you can also use print. But there is some slight difference between echo and print, and we'll prefer only echo statement over print statement. Why? Because echo is marginally faster when compared with print statement, right? So echo will be faster in execution when compared with print. So that's why we prefer echo statement instead of print statement. That is one difference that we have, right? But coming to the second one, echo statement will allow you to give multiple parameters or arguments, right? Echo function will allow the user to give multiple parameters or arguments. But print function, it will not allow multiple arguments. It will only take one argument. So that is second difference. So because of this, we will not prefer print function when we want to pass multiple arguments to the echo function. Fine. And third difference is the print has no return value. Print function, just like every function will return a value. If it is not returning, if it is in C or Java, we'll have a void as return type, right? If it is returning any value, then we'll have its return type as int, float, whatever type of value it is returning. That will be the return type of that function or method, whatever it is in C and Java. But coming to PHP, we need not mention the return type, right? But even though we don't specify the return type, every function may or may not return a value. So as such, print function will not return any value for you. But whereas echo function will not return any value, whereas print function will return a value. So let us discuss about this with another example program for echo and print. So let me take another program. So I'll save this file as echo.php. I'll save it here in the same program, in the same folder, and I'll edit this index file. Where is this index? Here. So I'll add one more anchor tag here. So let me use break tag here. So here what I'm going to do is uh, is the name of the file. Right? So use here go and print function. So this is a multi-parameter function. Right? And for this print, I'll use same thing. So let us see how the program will output for us. So let us go back to the index page. So let me click on echo and print function. So this is printing exactly same. This is a multi-parameter function. And here say I'll declare a variable dollar say a is equal to some 10. Here I'll concatenate it with either a comma or a dot operator. So I'll print dollar $a. A break statement here. The same way we use what is that you're getting? You're getting a syntax error, unexpected comma, right? The print function will not allow you to give a comma, unlike echo function. Echo will allow you to give a comma here. Right? So I told you that instead of dot you can use comma, but comma is the most preferred one instead of dot as a concatenation operator. Okay, so uh, comma can be used to separate two parameters that you pass to a function when you make a call to that function, whereas dot will be just used as a concatenation operator, just like plus symbol in JavaScript and Java. Dot also will act as a concatenation operator to join two or more strings. But instead of these strings, if you want to use a variable or something, instead of using dot, we can use comma, right? So comma means what? After comma, whatever you're giving, that will be considered as another parameter. So till here, from here till here, whatever you have given, this will be uh, considered as one single parameter, and after comma, whatever is there, that will be considered as second parameter. So in that way, you can give any number of commas and give any number of parameters to this function. Why I'm saying these parameters means functions will normally have parameters, right? So it can have no parameters, it can have one parameter, it can have two or n number of parameters. And if there are n number of parameters to a function, we separate each of those parameters with a comma symbol. So here also, even PHP also, we can separate each of these function parameters in the form of a with the help of a delimiter called comma. So dot operator is not used as a delimiter to separate parameters. Instead, it is used only as a concatenation operator. So this entire thing will be considered till here as a single parameter, right? Then after comma, whatever you have given, so this will be considered as second parameter. Then again you have given one more comma, so this will be considered as third parameter. So totally you have three parameters to this echo function. But coming to the print function, it will not accept multiple parameters. So that's the reason why when you give a comma here, it will generate an error for you, because this will be entirely considered as only a single parameter. That's why when we printed this one, even with a dot operator, this worked. But when you give a comma, this will not work, right? So that is the difference between print and echo, right? So each of them will be, whenever you give a comma, the preceding thing will be considered as one parameter. So that has ended here. And after comma, whatever is there till the next comma is encountered, till there it will be considered as another parameter. But you may think that because echo and print are functions, why don't we use a parenthesis like this, right? So what is happening? It is giving the same error unexpected here. So if I put this in comments, then also I'm getting error, right? So don't use, may not use parenthesis here. I'll put this print in comments here. Program. This is going to give an output for me, right? But this print statement will generate an error for me because it will not accept multiple parameters. Okay, let me put this in comments. That is what mentioned here in our PPT. Echo can take multiple parameters while print can take only one argument or parameter. And the second thing is, of echo, if I'm using a print statement, I can put that print statement in an if statement like this. Okay? I can put it in a if statement, because after printing something on the screen, this print function will return a value 1. It is going to return a value 1. So any non-zero value, if you put it inside a if statement, it will be considered as a truth value. If it is a zero value, then it will be considered as a false value. So if I write this, so right, then what is going to happen is, if this print statement is able to print this hello message on the screen, then it is going to return 1. So that will be considered as true. And then because it is true, this echo statement which is there after the if statement will be executed, right? So as such, your output program would be hello welcome. But if I give an echo instead of print, get an error, right? Because echo function does not retrieve any return any value when it is called, whereas print will return value. So when you write print, not generate any error. So that is the difference between print and echo functions. So if at all, if you want to use something, print statement inside an if statement like this in an expression, in a logical expression, then you can use print. Otherwise, remaining cases, we prefer echo only because it has an advantage of supporting multiple parameters like this. And it has an advantages of being faster, marginally faster when compared with print function. So that is the difference between echo and print statement, right? So they are both used to output data to the screen, but the differences are very small. First difference is echo has no written value while print has a written value of 1, so it can be used in expressions. Then second difference is echo can take multiple parameters while print can take only one argument or parameter. Argument or parameter both mean same. Then third one is echo is marginally faster than print, right? So that's why in our programs we are going to use only echo statement. We are not going to use print statement. Fine. So this is about today's class. That is, we have seen echo and print statement. We have seen variables and their scope and lifetime kind of a thing, like different scopes like local scope, global scope, and static scope. So we'll continue with the next topic, that is arrays in PHP, in the next week coming class. Fine. So if you have not texted your roll numbers, please text your roll numbers and then leave the class.